Hey everybody, it's Greg from Park Journey here. Hope you're all doing well. I wanted to just do a quick video, share some thoughts on the news that came out today that Cedar Fair is selling the land that Great America fits on here in California, up in Santa Clara, and that the park is going to close within 11 years. So I kind of want to share my thoughts about that, and kind of, obviously why this is doing other than, why they're doing this other than money, which obviously is the huge reason. And as much as I hate it, that it kind of makes sense. I'm going to just share some thoughts on this, and then also some speculation as far as when we might start seeing things getting removed and when the park might eventually close, because it's just within 11 years. I don't really think it's going to take that long, to be honest with you. So anyway, before I get started, make sure you click below to subscribe, and we greatly appreciate it. So first, just with the news, if you haven't heard yet, Cedar Fair is selling the land under California's Great America. They sold the land for, let me look at it, $310 million. They have a lease agreement to continue to operate the park for up to 11 years, and then close the existing park at the end of the lease term. So obviously, if it's not feasible or doesn't make financial sense for them to continue operating the park for the next 11 years, they're probably not going to be honest with you. Don't expect to see any new attractions. Obviously, they will maintain what they have. They'll keep it up. They'll, do refurbishments, et cetera, for what they do have. Obviously, probably maintain the buildings and things like that. So Cedar Fair did purchase the land in 2019 from the city, and then basically they did just resold it here. So I'll be honest, like personally, I think it sucks. My first visit to California's Great Adventure was when it was Marriott's Great Adventure, and I was like 3 years old. Here's a picture of me chomping on a hot dog in the late 70s. Obviously, I don't really remember that visit. But I remember visiting as a kid, and then obviously taking my own kids, and then just seeing the growth of the park over the last few years. And we had a couple of years ago there was this talk of they're going to get a giga, and they're doing all this stuff, and it was really looking like the next 8 to 10 years that park was going to be really really amazing and bring the park up. And then COVID hit, the park was closed for a year. Park really hasn't been that busy. You'll remember that they actually canceled Haunt this year. They're just doing a daytime family thing. So, I guess maybe some signs were there, to be honest with you. But again, it still kind of sucks. Now, obviously, $310 million, it's hard to say no to. That land is very valuable, obviously. There's been a lot of talk online that, well, why didn't they sell, Michigan's Adventure or World of Fun or Dorney or, any of these other parks? It's because of the land. The land that sits underneath Great America is infinitely more valuable than any of those other parks, with probably the exception of Cedar Point. Probably Kings Island is up there. I would say Canada's Wonderland is probably up there. Knott's obviously is up there as well, as far as the land being worth a lot of money, but those parks all make money, so it makes it easy to keep those parks open because they make all of that money. Knott's is the only year-round park, and then obviously Cedar Point and Kings Island are hugely popular during the summers. Canada's Wonderland is like the most attended park out of the entire chain, even though they're only open a few months out of the year. I wouldn't anticipate any of these other parks closing right away or any announcements unless they get a really good land deal for Valley Fair or any of these other parks. But again, I think it just goes down to real estate. And you've got the 49ers Stadium right there. Thanks a lot, 49ers. I'm a lifelong 49ers fan, but they totally contributed to this, to be honest with you. It sucks. So that's really kind of why. And then again, $310 million. So I don't know if we'll see this anymore at any of the other parks. I mean, it wouldn't shock me. Like I said, the only parks that probably would shock me if they did would be, Cedar Point, Kings Island, Wonderland, Knott's, maybe Kings Dominion, maybe Carowinds. Those would maybe surprise me a little bit more. But any of the other ones, to be honest, wouldn't really surprise me at all. But we'll see. I'm hoping not. And then, we'll kind of, we'll see what happens over the next, years and months. Now, as far as when I think the park is going to actually close, they said, again, within 11 years. I've got to be honest, I don't see it lasting more than 6. And again, this is just a speculation. All of this is wild speculation on my part. But I don't really see the park lasting more than the next 5 or 6 years. I think again, speculation, wild speculation. I think we'll start. I do think we'll start seeing things removed from the park starting not this year, obviously. I don't think next year. So if you want to go to the park, I would say next year you're safe. I would say maybe 2024, but that is also the year that CoasterCon is in the Bay Area, at Great America, and at Discovery Kingdom, and at Santa Cruz. But again, I don't know if they're gonna not ship a ride to a different park because of a coaster event. So, I mean, honestly, I hate to say it, I would say if you want to get to Great America and experience it in the way that it is right now, I would say you need to go this year or next year. I hate to say it, but I really think they're going to start moving stuff out in 2024. Now, again, that doesn't mean everything. I don't know. I'm not going to speculate on what, but it just would make sense. And again, just depending on crowds. If the park gets suddenly popular again, then maybe it'll last 8 years instead of the 6 that I'm speculating. But if you have 11 years and you're not adding anything new, it's nothing's gonna really you're not going to get any increase of attendance or anything like that. Now, there's also obviously the initial talk is all well, what's gonna get moved to a different park? What's gonna survive? And people say, oh, it's just going to be Railblazer and that's it. And I don't think so. I honestly think that the park has a really great lineup of coasters and some really amazing flat rides. I think they probably, of all the parks in California, I think they have the best collection of flat rides, to be honest. And they just redid their water park as well. So I think most of the coasters, rides, and slides will end up at other places, to be honest with you. I don't know if those are all going to be Cedar Fair parks or if they'll sell them to other chains. I don't know. I definitely think that if they want to send some slides down to Hurricane Harbor at Magic Mountain, please do so, because that park needs some new slides. I think really the only 2 things that I would say, 3 things that are definitely not going anywhere. Grizzly, no point in saving that, to be honest with you. The drop zone, the drop tower, no point in saving that. And Patriot, I can't imagine other than parts. I can't foresee that going anywhere else, to be honest with you. But everything else, I can kind of make a case for it. Starting at the front of the park, Gold Striker. There is precedence for moving a wooden coaster. Obviously, Phoenix at Knoebels was a moved coaster, so there is some precedence there. So I wouldn't really count that out as far as happening. I don't foresee it going to a park in California. I can't really think of any Cedar Fair parks that are needing a wooden coaster, but I wouldn't rule that out, to be honest with you. The carousel, most parks do have a carousel, but this is a double-decker carousel. I really would think that will end up somewhere. I don't know. Again, I'm not going to speculate as to where, but I think that might end up somewhere else. The Patriot, no. Chair swings, maybe. I mean, those, most parks have it, but it's pretty well maintained. Again, most of their rides are very well maintained. So if there's a Cedar Fair park that doesn't have a chair swing, then I don't see why not. Railblazer will definitely end up somewhere else, and who knows where that's going to be, but it will definitely end up somewhere else. The splash boat, okay, there's 4 that aren't going to end up anywhere else. I can't see the splash boat going anywhere else. Demon, probably not. I hate to say that. It is a classic. Honestly, maybe okay. There's 5. So as I'm going around the park, I'm thinking of more things that aren't going to get saved. So yeah, Demon definitely probably will not get saved. Grizzly, as I already mentioned, the Cars ride will probably be used for parts at another park that has A Cars Ride, an Antique Cars Ride. I think, Gilroy Gardens has theirs. Maybe they'll just ship the cars over there. The Drop Zone, as I already said, no. The Tiki Twirl, I really think, again, a very unique disco type flat ride with the hump in the middle. I can see that getting saved. The Skyway, oh, there's 6. Yeah, I mean, again, for parts, and it sucks that we're going to lose another Sky Ride. But nope, not going to end up anywhere else. There's just no point. Again, parts probably will end up at some other park. Cedar Fair, I know, has one, or Cedar Point, I know, has one. So I could see that happening. The Wild Mouse, I would love for it to be saved. I think it will. It is a very unique wild mouse. It's one of the Arrow wild mice. I really think that will be saved somewhere. It's not a very big footprint. I can see them getting some money for that. The Centrifuge are the Intamin flat ride that's there. That'll get saved. The Enterprise will get saved. The what do you call it? The Flyers will get saved. Those are all pretty new. Obviously the building where the Mass Effect thing is not going to get saved, obviously. I think that's like an IMAX theater anyway. But there's a lot of stuff in like Planet Snoopy that I can see getting saved. There's little kiddie coasters and a couple of other things. Obviously, as I mentioned, most of the stuff in the water park will probably get saved. I could imagine. Flight Deck, if it doesn't get saved, I would say that, for parts. But I don't know. Flight Deck is still a pretty highly rated inverted coaster. So I know that there's a few Cedar Fair parks that don't have an inverted coaster, so I could definitely see that getting moved. Again, also not a very huge footprint. You've got the bumper cars probably going to get shipped off for parts. And I think that pretty much takes us all the way around the park from what I'm remembering. So I do see a lot of the stuff. And then obviously you got all the building infrastructure and all of the restaurants and I know that they're, talking about, houses. I don't know who wants to live right next to a football stadium. So I don't know, maybe they'll move some of that stuff out to kind of have like a little, maybe a parking structure for the games, and then maybe a little area where there's restaurants and stuff. Maybe they'll utilize some of those buildings. I don't know. There's also the arena there. I didn't see anything there. I'm looking at it. I don't really see if there's anything about the arena being saved. It would make sense if they're going to kind of make it more of a community type place. I could see that possibly getting saved, but who knows? But we'll see. So like I said, I think really, as I mentioned, there's the 6 things that I counted myself up to after starting with a couple that I don't think are going to be saved. That's, again, Patriot, Demon, I hate to say it, Grizzly, the Skyride, the Drop Tower. I think there was one more, but again, it's a sad day, to be honest. It makes sense from a money standpoint, but it still does suck. And a couple of people asked, what was the last major park to shut down? And I guess it was probably Astroworld, which was 2004. We went the very last year that it was open. So I think that was probably the last of the major parks to get shut down. One thing I will say that I really hope that they give people some warning, not just say, within 11 years and then all of a sudden it's the off season of, let's say, 2026, and then that's it. They don't give anybody, this is the last day, this is the last year, make your last visits. I really hope that they, they let people know. So anyway, that's my thoughts on this. So hopefully you can all get out to Great America before it shuts down. But if you haven't, we have lots of videos on our page from Great America, but we'll definitely be making a couple of trips out there over the next few years. All right, everybody, take care and talk to you later.